taken off calendar is 3M ESPE Dental Products Division, case number 6256-1. And then after we hear the Monarch case, then we will go to consent calendar, which is the Sentinel Energy Center LLC, case number 6141-2. Okay, so starting with Monarch, who is here on behalf of the district?
Good morning, Board. Josephine Lee on behalf of the Executive Officer.
Thank you. And on behalf of Monarch?
Good morning. My name is Alex Matthews, Vice President of Cremation Operations, and I'm joined by two colleagues who can introduce themselves.
Yes, Mark Rourke, Operations Manager for Foundation Partners Group.
Jonathan Urbina, Lead Crematory Operator.
Okay, so do you have witnesses? These are going to be your witnesses? Okay, and are you going to have any witnesses today?
We don't affirmatively plan to call any witnesses, but we do have compliance and engineering staff available.
Okay, and Day, I want to make sure that Dr. Abraham is online and can participate in this hearing?
Yes, he is online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Abraham. All right, those who are going to be witnesses, if you can please stand up and raise your right hand. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that you will be telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. All right, we will start with Monarch, Mr. Matthews, if you can go ahead and, well, actually, before that, let's mark, we have the proposed variance conditions, and that's going to be Exhibit B as in boy. And then we also have the permits to operate, which we are going to hold together, and that will be Exhibit number 2. Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Matthews, go ahead. Do you have your opening statement?
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chairman and the board. We're here seeking short variance to comply with Rule 1147 and Rule 203. We have been in compliance with the conditions proposed. We are currently ahead of our scheduled date. We expected to test on June 17th. We're currently scheduled to test on June 13th. We've engaged with our manufacturer to make sure the equipment is being repaired as quickly as possible, and they've been responsive in the interim. We've maintained our log with the requirements of the variance conditions, including date and hours of operation of the equipment, as well as temperature, amount of human remains in pounds processed. And we're providing updates today on the rebuild and the testing date that we now have. We will, of course, notify AQMD no less than 10 calendar days prior to the scheduled source test. They've been notified of our proposed date currently. And after that, we will submit them as quickly as possible, no later than 45 days after we conduct the source test. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and for the district opening statement?
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, and good morning, representatives from Monarch Orange Crematory. Before you today is a petition for a short variance seeking limited duration relief from Rules 1147 and Rule 203 for the 4 crematories at petitioner's facility. The district has no objection to incorporate by reference the evidence and testimony presented at the April 23rd emergency variance hearing. Since that hearing, it is the district's understanding that petitioner is complying with all conditions and is actually slightly ahead of schedule with a source test plan for June 13th. But once the date has been finalized, petitioner, as they just stated in their opening, will be notifying the district 10 days prior per the proposed conditions. I'd like to note the proposed conditions marked Exhibit B are substantively the same as what was proposed in the emergency variance hearing. We have, though, requested to come, or we've prepared to come here in person today, given the board's request to have the operator from petitioner's facility available if the board has any questions. Additionally, the district has provided copies of the full permits as was requested by this board and marked Exhibit 2. The district does not plan to affirmatively call any witnesses, but we do have staff available if you have questions. And subject to the proposed short variance conditions, the district remains unopposed to the granting of the short variance. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Matthews, you can go ahead and start with your first witness.
Okay. Mr. Rourke, our Director of Operations, in your, have you complied with the requests from our AQMD inspector for the information required on a monthly basis?
Yes, actually, I've been sending over since our previous hearing. I've been sending it over weekly to Lucas for our human poundage, secondary chamber temperature, and hours of operation on each permitted retort.
And
I'm going to interrupt you just for a moment. Normally at the beginning of the testimony from the witnesses, they will state their name, spell it for the clerk, and also state your title.
Okay, got it. Sorry. So Mark Rourke, M-A-R-K, last name R-O-U-R-K-E, and I'm the Director of Operations for Southern California Foundation Partners Group.
Thank you.
And Mark, have we engaged, have you engaged our manufacturer to ensure that the equipment that requires testing is being worked on and we expect will be up and running for testing on our proposed June 13th date?
Yes, that is confirmed. I've spoken to the manufacturer multiple times, actively involved in communicating with our manufacturer as to when the retorts will be ready for testing, and the aim date of June 13th, 2024 is still confirmed.
Great, thank you.
Okay. You want to go to your, oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Lee, you want to have questions for this witness?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just realized with the recent update regarding June 13th, would petitioner be agreeable to amending proposed condition 1 to require that source testing be conducted no later than June 13th? Currently, it says June 17th.
We wouldn't be opposed. Originally, we were giving us time in case there were any issues, but as we see, there aren't any to date to our knowledge, so I wouldn't be opposed.
I guess if, do you know by how much certainty that the June 13th date can be met? Because I want to make sure that the facility is agreeing to a term that they can comply with.
The only thing that would prevent that would be should the third-party testing company encounter some issue like, so someone gets sick or something happens. But no, nothing would prevent that other than the third-party required testing company having any kind of issue on that date.
Okay, well, if you have no objection, then the district would propose to edit that date to ensure that compliance is reached as soon as feasible to June 13th. And other than that, has petitioner stipulated to all of the proposed conditions marked Exhibit B?
Yes, we have.
Great, thank you. No further questions.
Board members, anybody have questions? Mr. Balagopalan?
Yes, good morning. Mr. Rourke, I'll direct to you, but you let me know if somebody else. We did get copies of the permits, and it does appear from this that 3 of them were reissued in 2024, and 1 of them was not. Can you explain the difference between the permit that were, you submitted today for the hearing and the one you submitted with the petition?
Yeah, so that may have just been a clerical error. The ones that we had on file that were taken from the crematory themselves may have just been misstated, so I apologize for that. I don't have a full understanding as to why those ones are different than the ones you have.
So okay, so these are the current permits that, because I think 3 of them were issued, if you look at the permit at the very end, and the permit gives you a lot of metadata.
Yep.
They were issued this year on February 20th, 2024. 3 of them were reissued, which supersede the previous one. And the difference I see is now it refers to it lists PG California and doing business as Monarch, and then the party is in New York, in Florida still.
Absolutely. So I think that's where the issue may have been, that so if those were sent directly to our corporate office in Florida, they may just not have been sent to us in a timely manner, and we just haven't had them to post yet. So that's something we can correct right away.
Now, however, one was not reissued though, G68389. It still is showing the previous issue date of 4/15/2022. Do you know why that was left out?
I don't have an answer to that, no.
Okay, so these are the permits you want to reflect on your order. So in condition number 1, if you could look at condition number 1 of the proposed condition, then and you have any objection if you put R before, just like in the permit, R dash, because these are the revised permits. So it'll be permit to operate G68389 will remain as the same because it was not revised for whatever reason. But the subsequent 3 will have R dash G68388, R dash G68390, and R dash G6391. And do you have any issues with that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
If I could speak, I believe what triggered that permit reissue, and I will look into that 4th permit. I'm not sure. I'll find out. I believe our name changed. So we changed the DBA name to Monarch from what was Omega Society Crematory. And I believe that triggered that reissue.
Yeah. So the one in 2022 was issued as a result of a change of operator from PG taking over the Omega Society.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Now, I think at the last hearing, and I'm sorry, could you introduce yourself for the record and what your title is? I know we got Mr. Rourke.
Yes, sir. Of course. My name is Alex Matthews, ALEXMATTHEWS. I'm the Vice President of DCN Operations for the Western United States for Foundation Partners Group.
Okay. At the last hearing, you mentioned the posting of the permit.
Mhm.
You gave, now do you post the permit, or is it the receipt from the invoice that you're posting on the wall? Do you know?
The permit is posted in a conspicuous location in the crematory. Yes, sir.
For each of those crematory.
That's correct. Yes.
And this, so it's a revised one that is posted now.
The revised one should be posted. I haven't been there since that date, so I can confirm, but it should be, yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think that's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions, board members? Okay, none, Dr. Abraham, none? Okay. All right, you can go to your second witness.
Oh, we do not have any questions for Mr. Urbina, but we wanted to make sure he was available at request of the board. Should there be any questions from you?
Ms. Lee, did you have any questions for this member of their organization?
No questions from the district.
Okay, and any from the board? Did you have any questions?
I know you requested the operator. I don't know if you want to go first.
Well, it was mostly because we wanted to understand a little bit better about what the operations were. As you mentioned, you haven't been there to see that the postings of the permits were there. This person, I would think, would be able to tell us, since he is there for sure. So why don't we just go ahead, introduce yourself, spell your name, and tell us that you did take the oath.
Jonathan Urbina, JONATHAN URBINA, and I'm the lead crematory operator. And
Okay, and so the permits that were discussed, they are posted,
Yes, correct.
physically posted,
Yes.
okay. I'm trying to remember the other questions that we had at the time.
I can go forward, maybe I'll forget you.
Okay,
Mr. Urina?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We did hear the last time there were complaints received, I think, from the public, and AQMD notified you because of the incinerator smoke having visible emissions.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why that was so, and have you rectified it? And since the last hearing, has there been any more complaints? I know it's a multiplied question, but you can take.
Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, so it's rare situations when that happens, and yes, we have corrected from since then. So again, rarely do we get any like heavy smoking like that. And if there is depending on factors, if it's by weight or gender that causes it, or if the machinery is a little hotter than usual, but it's rare when that happens. And if it does, like, we correct it right away.
And what corrective action do you take to prevent it before it happens?
Just to prevent.
Yeah.
Yeah, just simply letting the machinery cool down, waiting, taking extra moments before holding another case from letting that happen. So we do take time after, just so the machinery could cool down, to avoid all that from happening.
And then you wait till when you start the next case,
Yes.
is the temperature in the secondary chamber
Yeah.
up to 400 before you put the case in?
Yeah, we wait for a good amount of time before we throw in another case.
Throw another case in?
Yeah.
So there has no, since the last hearing, there has been no complaints as far as you know?
No.
Regarding visible?
Yeah, no.
Okay, all right. I have no further question. Thank you.
I did have a couple of questions in reference to the proximity of the crematory to the residential area. Do you know about how close you are to a residential area?
For the most part, is pretty much commercial, that where we're located at.
Mhm.
We're probably a couple of miles away from any residential area.
No schools, no preschools, no
No,
convalescent homes, no
none of
hospital.
that. So everything's just commercial.
I'm trying to think, I know Orange a little bit, but I'm trying to think what the cross street is to Main Street where you're located.
So we're Main Street and like near Catella. We're Main
Oh,
and Ball.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a good idea where that's at. All right, thank you. Any other questions, board members? Okay, if none, no, Dr. Abraham? Ms. Rosalinda, did you have any? Okay, all right, so with that, let's go ahead and we've seen all of the exhibits and we have questioned the members of the company, so we can go ahead and go to, well, before we do, are there any members of the public that you can see? Okay, none. All right, so with that, we can go to closing statement and you can go ahead and start, Mr. Matthews, and if you can go ahead and address the conclusions and what your final date is for compliance, et cetera.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So Monarch Crematory is in violation of our requirement to test under Rule 1147 since the date of May 6th, due to manufacturing delays repairing our equipment. We are taking action to remedy that as quickly as possible. As we said, we are 4 days ahead of the original schedule we proposed at our last hearing. The current equipment was originally tested and is being operated under the permit requirements that will be retested and verified on June 13th. So we don't believe that there's any benefit, that there's any increased harm. And we have discussed curtailing operations to the extent that we can. And we spoke about that last time. We spoke about not bringing in any new clients or any new business to the best of our ability, just continuing to serve the public that we've already got in-house. And during this period, we will continue to report weekly. We were asked to do it monthly, but we've been sending weekly updates under the variance conditions. And we will, of course, continue to monitor both the opacity and the permit conditions in the meantime until we're able to finalize our testing. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Ms. Lee?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm so sorry, but I was just following Board Member Balagopalan's questions regarding the permits, looking at and wanted to make sure we're accurate in the permit descriptions. And there was an updated 2024 permit issued for 68389. And so I want to make sure that that is corrected. It's the same exact conditions, but it's with the DBA updated, and it has the February 2024. So I think inadvertently the prior 2022 permit was attached. But if there's no objections, we can update and I'm sorry that there was confusion there. The correct permit number is R68389. So I think all of them are not G, but R. Okay.
Sorry to correct. It'll be R-G, I think.
Yes,
The
yes,
G will
yes,
remain.
yes, thank you. Apologies.
The R stands for reissue.
Okay, yes, so R dash and then all of the same permit numbers, G following, but that would be the current accurate. And apologies that I didn't identify that sooner.
Well, as long as it's on the record now. Okay, no objection to that. All right, and did you want to continue with any closing statement?
No objections to the granting of the short variance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we can go ahead and start deliberation on this. Anyone want to start? Mr. Balagoplan, Mr. Pearman, did you want to begin?
Well, just to state, we heard this before at the 23rd of April hearing on the emergency, and nothing's changed. It looks like they're moving forward, so I think that we can certainly find the 6 findings for these stipulated conditions in Exhibit B.
I agree. Thank you very much for being so on top of this and making sure that everything was going to go forward. And in fact, being able to update the date of compliance. That's really, I think, a credit to your organization to try and get all of this done as soon as possible. So I also would find that you are in compliance or should be granted that short variance. Any other comments?
Well, I too agree that they meet the 6 findings. They're in violation of the rule as indicated 1147 H13A. And I think the rule was amended in 2022 that required them to do initial testing and then subsequent testing every 5 years. I believe, it's not reflected in the permit, even though it's revised, because when the permits were reissued, they were change of operators. So they just take the old permit and just put the new company name. They don't always update the permit condition. So even they were reissued in as late as February of this year, it doesn't reflect the latest amendment to the rule. But that's something that I'm sure the facility is aware of on the testing requirements ongoing. And so they are in violation clearly because of H13A. I do believe we heard testimony last time. They actually did the initial testing in 2013 when they got the permit. But then the rule amended and required them to do further testing. And then so that the non-compliance we heard was beyond the reasonable control. I mean, because of the testing, and also because I think Mr. Pittman asked last time too, why can you do individual testing instead of doing all at one? I think it made more sense to repair all and do the replacement retards before doing the test. So that it was beyond the reasonable control early on, and I think that as indicated, they are on track to do the testing a week earlier. The closing or taking will be with the corresponding benefit. The harm to the petitioner will outweigh the benefit to air quality, and this, in a sense, is an essential operation. If somebody wants to cremate their loved ones, that it should be available for them. I'm assuming that number 2 is out of service right now, so while they were doing the repair, or maybe I should have asked that, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So they, all the other finding, the excess emissions, there's a condition to report it in case their test shows they exceed the 60 ppm NOx, in which case they'll report the excess emission. And then they also will be monitoring, and they say they're doing a weekly monitoring and reporting to the district. So for all these reasons, I do believe we can make the 6 findings, also grant the short variance.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from board members? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
All right.
Sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
you just want to make it?
No, go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, in the matter of FPG California Inc. DBA Monarch Crematory, hearing case number 6254-1, facility ID 196339, I move that the hearing board grant the short variance commencing today, which is May 14th, 2024 through let me see, make sure
The new
this is
date.
right. Okay, it
Ms.
says
Dali,
June,
if I may.
June 13th,
June 13th, but it says June 17th here.
but we changed it. Remember the
All right, very
attorney
well. Okay, good deal. Good
changed
deal.
it.
I just want to make sure.
We normally go back with when the interim was granted, so it'll be the date of 4/23/24 until the.
Got it. Okay. All right, so just to be very clear, let me just do a quick rewind on that. I move that the hearing board grant a short variance commencing May 23rd, 2024 through June 13th, 2024 from the following rules as well as subsections. The rules are permit to operate G68389, G68388, G68390, and G68391. And the specific rule with respect to compliance would be Rule 1147. This specific equipment was just referenced. So we want to make sure that that's noted. The address of the location is 4901 Violin Road, Suite 300, 1577 North Main Street, Orange, California, 92867. The legal owner and operator, just for the record, is the Omega Society located at 4901 Violin Road, Suite 300, Orlando, Florida, 32811.
And I
If
believe
I,
just a friendly amendment that to the identification of the permits that we add the R-G on there since they were revised. So that's my only other.
yeah, that was, I was good. And I just wanted to say it's 1147H13A, specifically into a 3B.
And the amount of access emissions calculated?
Not anticipated until the testing is zero.
we'll say none.
NOx, yeah, no excess emission.
All right, that is my motion.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
And then the conditions are as in Exhibit B.
Yes.
With the revision to condition number 1, to put the in front of all the permits is the fact they were reissued R-G for all of the permits, and then change the date as Ms. Lee wanted from June 17 to June 13.
Yes, so we did, that was included in the initial
Yes,
language of the
yes.
law.
Mhm.
And so we'll add the proposed variance conditions as an addendum to the motion.
Okay, and we have a second, so
I will second.
Mr.
Yeah.
Belakopoulos. Okay, is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Belakopoulos, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Pearman,
Aye.
Dr. Abraham,
Aye.
Mr. Ali?
Aye.
And I also vote aye, so it's unanimous, it is passed. Thank you very much for the time that you've put into this, both the district as well as Monarch. So thank you very much for appearing today.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we can go on to our next case. Okay, we can go on to the matter that is on the consent calendar. That is Sentinel Energy Center LLC, case number 6141-2. Okay, and let me get my paperwork. Just had it here. There we go. Okay, this was also in regards to a regular variance for rules 203, 2004, and 3002. We do have some items to mark for exhibits. That will be the stipulation to place the petition for the variance on consent calendar. That will be number 4. Number 5 will be the permits to operate. And they are all together. Number 6 will be the declaration of Christian Aviles. In reference to the permits. Okay, so we're calling the whole thing number, okay, let's go back here, because I have some of them stapled to the petition, and then I have some of them that were. Okay, so number 4 then will be inclusive of the stipulation plus the permits, is that correct? Okay. Okay, that's fine. So that'll be number 4. Number 5 will be the declaration of Christian Aviles on behalf of Sentinel. Number 6 will be the declaration of Dennis Johnson on behalf of Sentinel. Okay. Number 7 will be the findings and decisions of the hearing board for this this variance. I don't think I have a number 8. Yeah. Now, I had a question because I did receive also the variance on the preceding hearing and on the interim hearing, so I don't need to mark that as anything. Do I, Madam Clerk? I don't know why I received it, but I did. Did all of you receive it also? On this one? Yeah, oh, yeah, we're okay on that, we're okay on that.
And there was a hearing board exhibit also, I did send an email to that.
Yes, I have that on the 6th of April. Do you have one after that?
No, it just.
Yeah, I have that. So that is HB. HB1? Okay, and I believe that's it. Okay. So with that, then anybody want to start the deliberation on that? I'll go ahead and start then. The catalyst that they had evidently was not working. They had to go into like an outage. So as a result, they have been waiting for that particular part for the catalyst. And to my knowledge, I didn't see that they have an actual date when they're going to be able to bring that back online. Do you have any other comments on that, Mr. Balagopalan?
Well, really, they were supposed to do the testing for the CO and, but they had to send the gas turbine out for repair. So in the meantime, they also decided to replace the CO catalyst. So they're waiting for the unit to come back and then before doing the testing. So they're asking for a period of time, essentially until the end of the, I believe they're asking till the end of the year to do the to get the variance coverage so they can get the unit back, get it up and running, and then install the CO catalyst and before doing the testing. So that's the situation. Really, it's not able to do the required testing as per the permit as per the condition that is listed D29.5 in the facility permit. And so by
and this is a peaker plant per se, although a lot of times they will use those peaker plants for base load. So they are not able to actually respond at this point in time until they get that catalyst repaired. So they do need this variance to be able to go through the end of the year to be able to come into compliance. And like I said, I don't know, I don't think they have a date when they are gonna be expecting that catalyst to arrive, so they're gonna be offline in that sense unless they can go ahead and facilitate and be able to contribute into the grid without that particular generator. So, but I also feel that they meet all of the criteria and that they should be able to be granted this regular variance. Any other comments?
I do believe they do meet the six findings necessary for us to grant the regular variance. I think they've went through each of that in in the proposed order, and that they're in violation of Rule 203B, 2004 F1, 3002C, specifically permit condition 29.5 for gas turbine unit 3, which requires source testing for the CO catalyst. And then, so that's the violation they need relief from. The non-compliance is beyond their control because they couldn't do the source test because the gas turbine unit 3 is out of service. They send it to offsite for repair, so that has to come back before they can perform the testing on the associated CO catalyst for the CO emission. And so requiring compliance will be, well, denial of the variance would be unreasonable, but they're not really they're not operating because it's offline, it's gone for repair, so it's kind of moot. They given consideration curtailing operation, they are curtailed because they're not operating the unit until it comes back from the repair. There's no excess emission. There are conditions to monitor that are in the proposed condition and quantify emissions. So the SEMS will still, they have a choice whether they want to keep the SEMS running or there's an alternative way they can monitor to indicate there's no excess emission. So I do believe they've met all the conditions needed for us to grant the regular variance. And to the end of the year, basically from the condition that 29.5.
All right,
Any other comments?
making the motion.
Okay,
All right, in the matter of Sentinel Energy Center LLC Facility ID number 152707. Case number 6141-2, I move that we grant a regular variance commencing May 14th pursuant to District Hearing Rule 4A4 from the following rules and subsections. District Rules 3002C and 2004F and conditions D29.5 of facility permit number 152707 as applicable to device C15 associated with D13. the location of said facility. Hold on 1 second, I'll just flip this over. Location of said facility is 15775 Melissa Lane Road, North Palm Springs, California, 92258. The conditions relative to this variance shall be set forth in the corresponding exhibits as filed concurrently. 4, being specific, in addition to Exhibit 2, which are declarations filed for the hearing board in support of the request for regular variance relief. With respect to this proposed order, it's not expected to result in any violations of the Health and Safety Code, Section 41700. That concludes my motion.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, with that, Dr. Abraham, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Balagopalan,
Yes.
Mr. Pearman,
Aye.
Mr. Ali?
Aye.
And I also vote aye, so it passes unanimously. Okay, so thank you very much, board members, for coming today, and thank you for your comments. Thank you, Ms. Rosalinda, for all of your information that you provide to us all the time, anytime that we need it. We really do appreciate that. Okay, with that, if there's nothing else, Dr. Abraham? It looked like you wanted to say something.
No,
Okay.
good.
All right, good. All right, thank you, everybody, and we are adjourned. And you can stop recording, Day.